Scissoring gets you a party. So, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Down Once More. Matt here, and I am joined once again by my brother Brad. I said this on our TikTok clip, and so it's totally true. That people are now calling us the Jason and Travis Kelce of musical podcasts. I'm not sure if you'd seen that too, Brad. We're the new heights of musicals.
I saw that you had said that. Yes.
No, people have been saying it. Not just me.
People.
People.
Yeah. Not
people
you.
have been saying
Not
that.
you.
Lots
People.
of feedback.
Totally
DMs
real people.
Just rolling in. Totally real people.
Drowning
This
in
week, yeah.
them.
This week we're gonna do
Jason or Travis.
I think you would be Travis. Just I'm fatter, so that's why I'm Jason. Anyways, before this week we're gonna do it's Valentine's Day when this episode's coming out. So happy Valentine's Day. Hopefully you didn't forget if you are someone who celebrates and you were prepared. I tried to give you a heads up last week, so that's on you. Oh yeah, definitely. If the weather holds out, I'm prepared. Because of a meal planned. But if it's like 40 degrees like they're calling for, then I'll grill steaks and then do some roasted potatoes, probably grill some asparagus. Nice thing. Because going out on Valentine's Day is a bitch, and it's not really enjoyable. I've literally never done it. Yeah,
I have never done it for that very
overrated.
reason.
Unless, of course, your significant other, that's something they're really into, then you suck it up and you do it.
That's great.
Yes. But something that was neat that happened this week. So I saw Aladdin on the national tour a few weeks ago. I did a mini review of that for the podcast. And this week, the actor who played Iago, that sang his praises on it, Aaron Choi, he commented on our video and gave us a little bit of a peek behind the curtain on there. So like they made him look like he was like 3.5 feet, 4 feet on there. It was nuts. I looked it up and he's like 5'5". I'm like, not the tallest, but also not 4 foot tall. And so give us a little description. I'll insert the screenshot in here. But yeah, basically he said that, which I assumed the guy who played Jafar was 6 foot tall, heeled boots, and then the turban adds another almost foot on there. And then they crafted his wardrobe to make it look almost like one of those inflatable fat suits that then the perspective makes it look different too, so look shorter. So that was cool. See people comment it from the productions, because he was definitely, him and the genie, definitely the highlights of that show. Fantastic performances. So that was neat to see. So shout out Aaron Choi again. All right. So we're doing our top 5 love songs from musicals. And the only rules we're doing is we're doing it like a draft. So we're going to do 5 rounds. We can do some honorable mentions at the end if we want. No repeats of songs. If someone drafts it, it's off the board. I'm playing kind of fast and loose with the rules. It doesn't need to be like a traditional love song. It can be anti-love song for all I care. It can be, like I told you, you can choose the cheeseburger song from VeggieTales and I'll allow it, because he's talking about his deep love for cheeseburgers. And if you're not familiar with love songs with Mr. Lunt, then you didn't grow up super religious or homeschooled. So congratulations.
Yeah. So I do have a bit of a clarifying question then, because Love Songs with Mr. Lunt is a music video.
That's true.
Itself a musical. It's embedded within a musically inflected religious indoctrination program.
That's right. That's where I said we're playing fast and loose with it. So I like, if you're like, this is a loosely themed musical, and I've said it on the podcast before, my definition of musicals is basically anything where the main characters sing at least twice in the film. So I can review Top Gun on this, and it would still fall in there, because we got She's Lost That Loving Feeling and Great Balls of Fire. So we have main characters singing at least twice in the movie. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, musical.
So of course that's a musical.
We play fast and loose. That one has like 4 songs, at least, maybe. I don't know. It's a great one. So, Fast and Loose, you can do musically themed indoctrination programs if you want. Only limits, no slurs. Slurs bad. Um,
Do you have an
that's pretty much
example
it.
of a slur infused musical love
Love
song?
song? I do not. Nothing springs to mind. No, I don't. No examples. Do any come to your mind?
Not at the moment. That's why I was wondering why you had to
Okay.
clarify.
I
You trying to demean minority groups, Matt? You trying to
no.
keep the people down?
Yep. That's it. That's it. I'm trying to keep the people down. All right. You're a guest. You're now a very recurring guest, but you're a guest. And so I will be a gentleman and I will let you have the first pick of the draft unless you don't want it. But you can have the first pick.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your generosity. Last time you made me spin a little wheel for that honor of having
That's right.
the
I
first
did.
pick in the draft. So the fact that you're just giving it up, I think, is huge. And I want to take full
Well, also, I
advantage. Now,
think
for me,
you won that draft pretty much hands down because you got
pretty
Harry
handily.
Potter and you got Fellowship of the Ring. So I, as the
Yeah.
winner, we didn't do an official because
Yeah.
no one ever
That's true.
reacts to any of our posts on social media. So engagement shit. So no one
No,
actually voted and said you won. But if we're looking at the facts, you won that
we know.
draft. So
We know.
yep, we know. Okay,
Yeah.
pick one.
So I want to be a little more locked down than you because for me, when I'm thinking of iconic musical love songs, I think it ought to be um, a song that is, if it's not like the biggest song in the musical, it's one of the first things you think of when you think of that musical. So I'm going to try to be strategic here, knowing you've just seen Aladdin. Um, I want to get this off the board because I think that that's pretty high up on your list. I'm going to go A Whole New World. Not only is that one of the most iconic songs in the movie, and I'm assuming also in the musical, it's a fantastic love song. I don't know how many times I have just belted out the girl part of my own free will in the car because it's
Just the girl part.
absolute just the girl part. Aladdin's part is kind of boring.
It's fair.
It's all about Jasmine in that song. So, Whole New World, pick number one, lock it in.
Solid pick. Wasn't in my top 5 or honorable mentions just because, if we're being
Yeah,
honest, it's just frankly because I didn't think of it. I didn't have, and this is tipping my hand a little bit. I didn't, when I was making my list, I didn't even think of Disney movies. So, um, that is a great one of one, solid pick. Um, I am going to go with, for my round one pick, I'm gonna go with On My Own from Les Mis. I'm a big Unrequited Love.
you
Like, it doesn't
suck.
need to be.
You
I thought
suck.
that was. I was worried you were gonna pick that one for your pick because I figured it was on your
It would
list.
have been. It would have been.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Yep.
going to be my very next one.
Yeah. I was, when I was making this, I'm like, I need to adjust my picks a little bit because a lot of mine, like I don't know. This is gonna sound bad, but the unrequited loved ones, I feel like can hit harder than just the
Yeah.
traditionally eh, gushy, flowery roses love songs. And those, because especially in musicals, I feel like you get the emotion more, and it makes it feel more, I don't know, authentic and kind of just a good gut punch with some of them. And those, like we discussed when we talked about Les Mis, Samantha Barks does such a great job performing that too. And it's such an emotional song
Yeah.
that I had to go with it. First round pick. So
Yeah, no, I think that's a fantastic pick. You kind of have me on my heels. I got this next one has to um, pack some punch. Are we saying then that all Les Mis is off the table?
no, just that song. You can choose other Les Mis ones.
Just that
Where
song.
I think we had done that before on the last draft that we did. That if one
Mhm.
song from one musical was taken, the whole thing was off the table. I don't think so for this. You could do as many as you want. So I'm leaving it on the table.
Okay.
You just can't do on my own. Like you can't say I want the
Okay.
Broadway cast recording of On My Own. You can't do that, obviously, but
Well, obviously, but I do want the 10th anniversary kid. All right, so I'll keep that in mind, maybe for later rounds. But for my pick two, I'm going to go All I Ask of You, Phantom of the Opera.
mm,
Um, First of all, I think it's appropriate given the name of this podcast.
yes.
But I just think that that was one of the first musical love songs that I remember really just uh, just impacting me and making me think like, oh, I want to feel that someday. Just what a strong, beautiful melody and uh, sentiment of love.
That's a good one. I always, and this kind of goes back to what I just said previously about the unrequited love. I liked the All I Ask of You reprise better with the Phantom
Reprise, yeah.
singing
I
on the roof,
I
more
think
with the
that I get both of
emotion.
those by saying all I ask of you. You get the inaugural, all I ask of you, and the reprise.
Is that the precedent we're gonna set? That if you get one version
That
of it, you
is,
get
you
the
get
reprise
reprises.
too?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely, you get the reprise.
Hey, on a track list, they're two completely different tracks. Because that was just in my honorable mentions, I'm not going to fight you for it too much. Otherwise, I would have pulled some rank on that one and said, "No, those are different." But yeah, the Phantom's reprise of that is so good. I remember that's what I remember singing from that. You will curse the day you did not do. Oh, also one thing before I forget,
If only
because
Gerard
I
Butler could sing better, that would have really hit that
it,
movie.
it would. I also though kind of like what we were talking about with Russell Crowe a little bit. I don't think he was awful. Like to an
He's
untrained ear like me, I'm sure that people who are a lot more musically gifted and can pick up the different keys and everything like that better and have more of a musical resume, it probably is like nails on a chalkboard. Me,
I look,
I still
man.
enjoyed it.
I'm barely trained, and when I went back and tried to listen to him, I was like, he's not even close. Like they didn't even try because they
To other
recorded that in studio.
compared to other Phantom performances, you're saying, or just like in general?
Compared to other Phantom performances, but also just like musically. Like if we're
Yeah,
talking about like, is this guy on pitch?
yeah.
Like,
Well,
does he
and
have any sort of like resonance or timbre to his voice? Just nothing.
that's fair. And that was one thing Rayleigh and I, because that was, I think that was the first movie we reviewed on here actually, and it
It
was
was.
Gerard Butler does the emotion of the Phantom and that kind of tortured nature. He does that really well. But yeah, his vocal performance is weak. But they were trying to get a name because really, he's the. I mean, and he wasn't even that big right then.
He's the big
There's a
name.
lot of. He's the big name in it because Patrick Wilson wasn't super well known. I mean, Rossum had been in Shameless. I think we had looked it up. I think she had been in
Had she
Shameless
already
at
been in
that point.
Shameless?
Otherwise, that was
I
pretty.
think.
I don't remember that.
Okay.
Phantom might actually have been first. We looked it up when we reviewed it, but that was like over 2
I
years
think it
ago
was
now.
Phantom first.
Um, let's
I'm pretty
find
sure
out.
it was Phantom first, and then she went basically straight to Shameless.
Phantom was 2004. Oh yeah, Shameless didn't start till 2011. So Phantom, and Day After
Hmm.
Tomorrow both came out in 2004. She was in Mystic River in 2003. But yeah, Phantom was probably like the biggest role out of all of those, where
Oh,
she's
yeah.
the lead. So yeah, Phantom was really her breakout one, but it's a good one. See, I'm trying to be a little bit strategic on mine and go with ones that, like, I have some that may be higher on my list, but I don't think you would steal them. So I'm going to save them for later rounds. And with my second pick, I'm going to go with Rewrite the Stars from The Greatest Showman.
Oh, no.
Was that on yours too?
Dang it.
Am I
Sure
just snaking
was.
your picks? Yeah.
You are.
Uh,
That's pretty dirty.
I apologize.
That's messed up.
But that's what you get for taking the reprise too. So Rewrite the Stars, Zac Efron, Zendaya. Great song. One of my favorite ones from The Greatest Showman. I think of The Greatest Showman, in my opinion, is of the last, I guess it was probably actually like 10 years ago now by the time that it came out. It's been a while, hot minute. But for original musicals that just glamorize really shitty people, like Barnum, not a great dude historically,
Bad dude.
all things considered, but glamorize him. That story, and for original musical, is so good. Like, I think Pasek and Paul, who they did that, they did Dear Evan Hansen. They wrote most of the songs for season 2 of Smash. Well, at least like the more of the other musical going on there. I think they are extremely talented songwriters and storytellers. And so Rewrite the Stars and Zac Efron and Zendaya's performance of that is really good. Zac
Their
Efron,
chemistry is incredible.
yeah. Zac Efron actually has been coming into his own, I feel like, as an actor. I feel like he just got pigeonholed with High School Musical at the beginning, but then since then, I haven't had a chance to see it, but the wrestling movie they did, the Von Erich family, the Iron Claw, I
It
heard there
looks
was
incredible.
like that
It
he
looks
was
incredible.
snubbed for an Oscar nomination. People were saying that he absolutely should have been nominated. He gave an Oscar worthy performance in that. So I'm excited to see that, but he's so good. They didn't let him sing in the first High School Musical movie, but then I think second one he started singing more. Then he's actually got a really good voice.
I think he underwent significant vocal training between the first one and the second one, and I also think that they wrote the vocal parts for the first, wrote all the songs for the first High School Musical before the casting. Yeah. And I think a number of those songs were just outside of his range, because if you notice in the next two movies, the vocal range for Troy shrinks.
Yeah.
A decent amount. So
I don't think I ever saw High School Musical 3, actually.
That's good.
I think I've only seen 1 and 2.
I hadn't until just recently, ever since, my oldest kid went on her High School Musical kick. Then I watched it, and you're not missing much.
Have you watched High School Musical, the series, though?
Absolutely not.
The first couple seasons aren't bad. I haven't watched it since then. Some good original songs. That was what Olivia Rodrigo kind of broke out in. Now she's settling lawsuits with Paramore. What?
Yeah. Well, that's where she met the boy that she wrote her first album, Sour.
About. Yep. Yes, she did. Okay, round 3.
Snubbed at the Grammys. I don't know if she was snubbed. I don't know that she deserved to win over the people that actually won. She was nominated for a bunch, but just didn't.
Yeah. I'm not very convinced that she's actually a super great vocalist in some things. Like, I've seen some performances on talk shows that have been kind of rough, but still very talented and very gifted writer and performer.
I think the coolest thing about Olivia Rodrigo is she seems very influenced by, like, Avril Lavigne, No Doubt, Paramore, those types of, like, 90s and 2000s, like, female-led alternative and rock bands. And I think that's pretty cool to kind of infuse that back into pop music today.
Pop music.
Did you see the Tracy Chapman, Luke Combs?
Yes. I was going to ask your opinions on that, because I know we've had... I don't know that we've talked about Fast Car. I know some people that hate Luke Combs' version. I know you hate Heads Carolina, whatever that version of by Cole Swindell is. You
first
don't
of all,
like that one bit. It's drastically different than the Fast Car comparison. But
Fast Car is a cover.
Parody. Yeah.
Yeah, the Cole Swindell Heads Carolina is, or She Had Me at Heads Carolina, or whatever she had me at. Whatever it's called.
I think it's
That's a
good. That's
parody,
cool.
essentially, is what it is. He ripped all the
He's the Weird Al of country music.
kind of well, except for instead of being funny, he's just being like uh canned studio bullshit. Whatever the
Mm,
pablum they think will pander to, like he's just pandering. He's not trying to be funny, he's just trying to pander. And so
like the
it's
Bo
that weird
Burnham
Mad
song.
Libby Nashville. Exactly. But like he's taking that song, using its melody, using its cadence, and then using the nostalgia of that song to sell you on this really like phony, packaged, like what Nashville thinks people want country music to be bullshit. So I
Mm,
hate that. Luke Combs, I actually have a good amount of respect for. I actually like some of his stuff. I think he's one of the better like Nashville country artists, radio country
yeah,
artists out there right now. And his Fast Car version it's just a cover with fiddle and steel guitar, really.
yeah.
Um, and Fast Car is one of the best written songs of the last 50 years by one of the best singer songwriters to do it. So,
Yeah,
um,
she did so like that performance of them together, so good. And I saw people there like,
incredible.
look at her like at the beginning, just on stage playing, no in-ear monitors, nothing, no auto tune singing, and then just like I saw things go like, look at the smile on her face when she's going into it, and everyone's cheering it. It was cool to see. I thought that was a great
It
performance.
was
They sounded
beautiful.
great
It was a
together.
beautiful moment.
It was great.
Did you see the camera shots of Luke Combs just like away from the microphone, just like singing along because he was so into it,
Hmm.
and you could tell how like honored and excited he was to be on stage
Yeah.
with her. I thought that was absolutely beautiful. It was a really touching moment.
Because I think a lot of times,
Yeah,
like people that I was thinking, they're like, man, I wonder how Tracy Chapman feels about this or just being Butcher song. Because I feel like people like to just hate on things for no reason. So I feel like for him too, like you can tell he had respect for that song with how he covered it. He's not trying to change it up. Like he's singing all the lyrics as they were written. Like that's one of my pet peeves when people
yeah,
would do covers and like if the song was like if they're doing a Taylor Swift song and then they change the lyrics instead of he to she's or like stuff like that, like little stuff. I don't know. For me, I think it's weird. I'm like, just sing the song as
yeah.
written. You're doing
Be
a
gay.
cover.
It's
No
fine.
one's gonna be like gay. Like I don't know what you're worried about with that. And so
Yeah,
Luke Combs sings the song as written, had respect for it, and getting to perform that, I'm sure that was such a great moment for him. And it was such a great performance. I didn't watch all the Grammys. I saw that, and I saw the clip of Miley Cyrus asking when people weren't singing to Flowers. She's like, you act like you come on, you know the song. Those were the two
don't
things I
act like
saw
you
from
don't
the
know this song.
Grammys. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Um, I thought Jay-Z's speech when he accepted the Global
Mm,
Impact Award was really good. It's one of those things that like people have been saying for years, but no one said it from the Grammy stage. I think it was a really kind of fitting follow-up to like the celebration of hip hop and black music that was last year with the inauguration of the Global Impact Award and giving it to Dr. Dre.
yeah.
Um, I thought that was really great for him to use that time to be like, hey, like, we don't need you to get it perfect every time. We just want you to try.
Yeah.
I thought that was, um, I thought that was really good. Yeah, but I should probably stop stalling and pick. You got me
Yeah.
off my game a little bit. I got to be honest.
I told you to be prepared with backups in case things got
Yeah,
jacked.
well, I have tons of backups, but now my strategery. I
Mm.
gotta think about this. I think I'm gonna go with Falling Slowly from Once.
Mm. That is
Uh,
a very good pick. That if I would have remembered,
I
it would have been on my list. But I didn't even think of that today. I just put my list together like over my lunch break at work today. Was not
I gotta
very
be
well
honest.
prepared.
That's one of those songs that, like, from the first time you hear it, you know how special it is. it is one of the most compelling songs, let alone love songs from a musical, I think I know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't
Now,
have much to say other than I think it's just an absolutely beautiful song, and the way that the two characters' stories weave together, and it starts with like it's just a song, and then it kind of really does become about them
mm-hmm.
as the story goes along. I think is really beautifully done for and it accompanies this song really well.
My first introduction to the song was on American Idol. I forget who sang it, but I don't know if that was yours or if you saw it from the movie because it was back. I was living at home at the time,
That wouldn't
so it
have
would have been
been
like high
David Cook
school.
era, right?
I was thinking it was maybe David
I'm looking
Cook,
this
but I
up.
don't know that that was
David,
his
Crystal
range.
Bower Socks and Lita Wise. Yep, yep.
Ah, Lita Wise. Yep, yep, yep. That was my first introduction to it, and then they actually did a pretty good job covering it. But Glenn Hansard is so good. Rayleigh and
Yeah.
I talked about it when we did our Cyrano review, that because he's in there and he has a
Okay.
heartbreaking song about the soldiers. Have you seen Cyrano? The
No, I haven't.
It's
You
not
told
bad.
me I should watch it, and I watched the trailer, and it did not make my list.
It's beautifully shot, and Peter Dinklage gives a very good performance. I His vocal stuff, like he played the role on Broadway. Like when it was turned into a musical on Broadway, he played the role on Broadway too. And so did Haley Bennett, who plays the female lead in it. But all right, so Falling Slowly was your third. Um, my third, we were talking about it, so I'm going to go with it. Is Someone to Say, specifically the reprise is what I prefer with it, but I'm taking the whole thing as we established earlier, from Cyrano. If you haven't seen Cyrano, the premise of it is Cyrano is it's a very old story in play. Back in the day, the story of Cyrano was he had a very large nose. Um, Not anti-Semitic. He
We all know
was
what that means,
different.
am I right?
um, but he had a very large nose and he was weird and he was in love with his cousin. Um, Creepy. But back in that day, maybe it was, I don't know. He was a very gifted wordsmith, and his cousin fell in love with this soldier who could not write. And so Cyrano would write. He wanted her to be happy. So even though he was in love with her, he knew she loved this soldier, and the soldier liked her. So he wrote letters for the soldier because the soldier couldn't write. So it was the unrequited love thing. He couldn't communicate with it, his love. So he's
Are
basically
you?
being the. Am I okay? Yes, I'm okay. It goes to
Yeah, are you all
the
right?
emo.
Like,
the the emo. I think it's the emo music just raised me where like I can't have like too many happy things. It just needs sadness. Um, but the song "Someone to Say" in the movie no longer are Cyrano and Roxanne cousins. They're just friends from childhood, that grew up in the same town. And no longer is Cyrano anti-Semitic stereotype. He is a little person played by Peter Dinklage. And so the reprise is
I
sung.
don't, I don't know that that's much better. It's just like instead of
Well,
signaling that he's a Jew with a big nose, we'll make him little. Like,
well,
isn't
that
that
was
what J.K.
something I.
Rowling did? It's like
Yeah,
it's just
she
the
combined both of
Gringotts
them. Yeah.
goblins.
Well, that was when Rayleigh and I reviewed Cyrano, and we were talking. I'm like, one. So there's one part of it where Peter Dinklage's character is in the barracks, and they just have a little person size like punching bag that he's using. I'm like, let's be honest. In this period of time, I don't think they were very accommodating to little people where they're like, hey, you can be a captain in our guard. I don't think that was happening. But for the musical purposes, very progressive. But anyways, Someone to Say is a song where it's Christian,
I
the
don't know any
soldier.
stories.
He's talking about how he'd give anyone for someone to be able to say what he wanted to say to Roxanne. And so he's singing it, Cyrano's finishing it. It's a beautiful sequence. Probably my favorite song from the musical. Great song. That's my third pick. Someone to Say from Cyrano. The reprise. What whiskey are you drinking?
Larceny.
Nice.
Big fan. It's like $32 for a handle. If we can get them to sponsor this, Larceny, the only whiskey I drink, while recording Down Once More podcast. Just even clip that, and send it along.
I appreciate the plug.
Look, we got to bring the sponsors in because they're the ones that'll help boost us in the algorithm.
That's
in fact, maybe we can just like start doing ad reads in the middle.
Just random ad reads and
just random ad
see
reads.
What happen. And just send it to people, and hopefully they sponsor.
Viagra.
Get a cease.
Matt says it works great.
They're like, but then we'll get like cease and desist. They're like, hey, we looked at your views, and if you could not be referring us, that would be swell.
No.
The only, if you could blur out the product placement, that'd be ideal.
I think any publicity is good publicity. I think people would be all in.
Okay, there we go. I'm drinking.
Maybe that's a segment we do. Is unsolicited ad reads.
Unsolicited ads. That's the opposite of most of the things where it's like no free ads. We're not going to shout them out unless you pay us.
Shout out, no free shout outs.
Shout out, no free shout outs.
Shout out, only free shout outs.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, it's yours.
Is it mine? You picked the Cyrano?
I picked Someone to Say from Cyrano.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with probably the most unexpected love song in any musical, and that will be Dracula's Lament. Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Bravo.
I think that moment. Die. I can't. Like the moment where he's like, I'm a songwriter, I'm working on it. Right? It's like Peter.
Dracula.
And like you're not expecting it. Dracula musical, and you're not expecting what's about to come next. And it's funny every time you see it, but that very first time is just perfect. Mm-hmm. It's just probably
and her reaction to it too is because she didn't know what to expect too. So, he just gets out there. I still have that entire thing memorized.
I do too, but I think we get kind of like it's a double kind of love song effect. I don't know how I did that.
Dude, you're fucking MacBook because we had the thumbs up the last time, and I think there's fireworks. And then I don't know what triggered the balloon. Was it a piece? Was it? I don't know.
Yeah, I did that.
And that scissoring gets you a party. So
no one did it. I'm not gonna go there. But no, you back to Dracula's Lament. Yeah, you kind of get a 2-for-1 love song, because the song within the Dracula musical is a love song, but also that moment is like a really big moment and pivotal for those two characters falling for each other. That I think is a really special moment within the movie, and also just a great ass song.
Yeah, that's a great pick. I would have picked the Peter You Suck song personally, but
Peter, you
Uh,
suck. Peter, you suck. Peter, your music is fucking terrible.
so self-loathing. Go see a psychiatrist. I hate the psychiatrist.
I hate the
Go see one
psychiatrist.
anyone.
I don't want to
Okay.
see one.
My fourth pick is going to be a recent one, and that is going to be "You Matter to Me" from Waitress. So this is, if you have not seen Waitress, it's available to rent on digital platforms now, but it is when the main character, who's having an affair with her gynecologist, movie sounds ridiculous when you just say certain plot points out loud, when they have a song about mattering to each other and having that, because she is in an abusive relationship and just going through all the emotions, and it's a great song. So that's my fourth pick. I don't have much else to add.
Right.
In the movie, Sarah Bareilles does such a good job at it. Oh, that was the thing that I started jumping and interrupting earlier that I said I was going to say before we forgot, and then we got on some other bunny trail and forgot. The last week's episode, I talked about Jesus Christ Superstar and seeing the national tour, and I gave a shout out. I said that I thought the 2018 version that John Legend did in concert was really good, one of my favorites. And I didn't shout out the Sarah Bareilles in that as Mary Magdalene. So good. So good.
Dope.
Shout out Sarah Bareilles.
I haven't seen it.
It's, dude, it's stupid. I've ranted against this so many times. You can only watch it on Broadway HD now. It was on NBC, so you would think it would be on Peacock. It's not. You can't rent it or buy it on Vudu. And Broadway HD has the absolute worst user interface ever. It is hot garbage. You can get it as an add-on to Amazon Prime. Yeah, it's a subscription. And they'll have like filmed Broadway things on there, different things like that. But you can get it as an add-on to Amazon Prime, which would be the way to go, because they do have a decent catalog of musical content in general, like film Broadway ones, which we've talked about and other things.
Like Spam
Rayleigh and I have too. They don't have Spam a lot. I don't remember. I'll double check, but I don't think they have Spam a lot. But they're just their user interface. They don't have smart TV apps. They don't have like Xbox, PlayStation apps, anything like that. You can't do AirPlay from your phone. You can't do screen mirroring from your phone. They have it locked down. So you can pretty much only watch it on the smartphone app or on your laptop. And it is hot garbage. Yeah.
It is not on Broadway HD. That sucks.
That day.
That sucks.
So I don't. My cup came out of here.
Yeah, that's great. I was actually on my list for honorable mentions was "She Used to Be Mine." Big from Waitress,
like a love song to herself.
I think. Yeah. Exactly, it's a love song to herself, and it's one of those really like mournful. It's not quite unrequited. It's a lost love.
Yeah,
I think it's an absolute beautiful song. Okay, so this is my
Jeremy Jordan's version, right? Okay, last pick. Go for it. Last pick.
I'm gonna go with. This is tough because there's a lot of really worthy picks that could be put here. I'm gonna go "Helpless," Hamilton. I think that because we've been going for a lot of songs that are like based on like their melody and their words.
Yeah.
And "Helpless" is a good one, but it's one of those where like when you just listen to the soundtrack, you're like, oh, this is a pretty good song. And then you see the Satisfied Helpless back to back. In the play and visually and the choreography really that's one of the songs that I think stands out. It just like comes to life on stage versus just listening through the soundtrack. So I think it's one of the like most underrated songs if you've only listened to the soundtrack, and it's a great love song.
Yeah,
that really sets up all the different
Heavy.
trajectories that'll
Yeah,
happen in the Eliza Hamilton romance.
that is a great pick. I'm glad a Hamilton song made it. Um,
Yeah.
my last pick, and then we'll do some honorable mentions. I'll just let you fire off some of yours, then I'll fire off some of mine and add to yours. My final pick, and I got all of my original 5 that I had on my top 5. You didn't steal any of mine, partially because I went with some from things you hadn't seen, and Falling Slowly would have been in my top 5 if I would have thought of it. So that was a good pull by you. Mine is going to be I Don't Know How to Love Him from Jesus Christ Superstar, sung by Sarah Bareilles, actually, which is Mary
Love it.
Magdalene's song that she's singing after interactions with Jesus, just about how she doesn't know why he moves her so, how she loves him. It's really good. It could be some recency bias on my part too, having just seen the tour. And Jaden Dominique plays Mary Magdalene on tour, and her voice was so powerful, and her performance was so fantastic. So highly recommend that if you get a chance to go see it. But of the film versions that are out there too, I think for me the best all around performances are the ones from that 2018 version with John Legend as Jesus, and Sarah Bareilles as Mary Magdalene, because Sarah Bareilles has just such a great voice, and she's able to portray the emotion too. She's actually a really good actress on top of everything. I don't know if she's been in a ton of things besides
Yeah.
musicals, but she's really good in Waitress. She was really good in Jesus Christ Superstar, and that one, I don't know. That song I've really been digging since I saw the play last week. So that's what my
Sarah
fifth pick
Bareilles is
is.
an absolute angel.
Mhm.
She's an
You
absolute angel.
you told that story on or lame. I don't remember if you told it on the Les
I've told
Mis
it
one
before.
or if it was on the. You've told it on here multiple times before, I think, because when I
Yeah, so
released the
I'm not
unreleased
gonna recount
episode,
it.
yeah, but she's very very good.
So
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 go
I'm just
over
gonna
your
go ahead and
full
say,
5, and then your honorable mentions.
so I feel pretty good about this. I kind of feel like I kind of squandered my first round. I would have taken on my own, but as it stands now, I got A Whole New World, All I Ask of You, Falling Slowly, Dracula's Lament, and Helpless, and I feel good about that 5.
That's a good list. I will say, if we were to have a general poll out there, I think it would be tighter, this one, than the books to movies draft. Because my 5 I have On My
That's
Own.
just because more people are miserable like you.
That's right. I had On My Own. I had Rewrite the Stars. I had Someone to Say, Reprise specifically. And then I had You Matter to Me, and I Don't Know How to Love Him. So 2 Sarah Bareilles
Yeah,
songs
I
on mine,
think
actually, performances.
I got to be honest
But
though. I think that you lose people on that back end
on the back end,
because I think that they would. Yeah, I think they wouldn't be as familiar. I think like top five, top fives aren't, drafts aren't for niche picks,
that's
right?
true.
You
But
want to
that's where
hit the things that
Dracula's
people
Lament
know.
hurts you, though.
Is
So
that
you've got
niche or
that
is
one to
that
lose.
classic?
I feel like
I
that's
would
different vibes, but
I
I
would
respect
wager
it.
that more people have seen and love Forgetting Sarah Marshall than Cyrano.
Okay, that's probably fair. That's fair. Okay,
Thank you.
it's a
I
tighter
rest my
race.
case.
Let's
So
hear
let me
your
hit you with a
honorable
couple. I won't
mentions.
hit you.
Yeah.
I won't hit you with all of them because I still got a whole bunch. Since we didn't have as much overlap as I was anticipating. Um, just one more Disney. I think there's a number of Disney ones that could go here, but Can You Feel the Love?
Mm-hmm.
Great love song. Elton John,
I,
Please and Thank
I
You.
did think about that
Come to
one.
your.
Seemed too cliche. That's why I did do it.
It is a little too cliche. That's why it's outside my 5.
Mm-hmm.
Come to Your Senses. Tick Tick Boom. I
I
think
have that on my honorable mentions.
that's the song that, like, the whole play, like, he can't write that
Mm-hmm.
song the whole time, and then when it hits, it's just incredible. And then the way that they kind of dovetail the two actresses performing it. Is it Alexandra Knapp who
Alexandra Shipp, I believe.
Ship?
I'll look it up.
Why I said Knapp. My apologies, Alexandra. You're also an angel, and then Vanessa Hudgens. That kind of merging. Alexandra Ship. I'm sorry, Alexandra. Can I call you Alex? I hope she doesn't see that. Anyway, it's great. Shallow.
That's a good one. I didn't think.
I think is that almost made it in my top five. That was just that was a bubble, and I think that part of what made that song so good was how incredible Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga's chemistry was. It was just poignant and visceral. Gotta Go My Own Way, High School Musical 2. Probably the best song in the entire High School Musical franchise.
I'd agree.
Joanna. Yeah, good. Joanna. Sweeney Todd.
Joanna.
I feel you, Joanna.
That's one of my least favorite songs from Sweeney Todd. That song.
Wow.
That was not on my list.
Wow, really?
But
even when Andy Bernard sings it.
Slightly better than when Jamie Campbell Brewer sings it. Jamie Campbell Brewer's got one of those faces. I apparently have a problem with people's faces. Like we talked about Les Mis. There's something about Eddie Redmayne. And then Jamie Campbell Brewer's another one. There's something about him that just annoys the shit out of me in that movie.
Hot take. I don't know how hot. But whatever makes Eddie Redmayne's face punchable, Matt Rife has the same thing going on. They're very similarly
at least
punchable.
In my end. What'd you say? What about whom?
Whatever makes Eddie Redmayne's face punchable, Matt Rife has the same thing going on.
I would argue Matt Rife has a more punchable face than Eddie Redmayne, because Eddie Redmayne,
but it's the same.
I don't know. Matt Rife is a smug douchebag face, like hardcore smug douchebag frat boy face on Matt Rife.
He has Zoolander face, is what he has.
That's a good call out. He really does. He really does. Was that the end of your honorable mentions? Do you have any others?
Yeah, I'll stop there.
Okay. Like I said, I had Come to Your Senses. That's a good one. I had I'll Cover You from Rent.
Yeah, I thought about that one as well. My only reason I didn't put that up is I feel like as good as that song is, it kind of gets buried by all the other great songs in that first act. It's such a absolutely powerful act one that I'll Cover You kind of gets buried. I would put Will You Light My Candle as the the reprise is also great. But the Will You Light My Candle as the better love song from Rent. It's that
I could argue
because it hits all the.
I really like Goodbye Love. Goodbye Love, like the full version, which isn't in like the movie version of Rent. It's not in there, but Goodbye Love is one of those that one hits me. That one tops all those other ones for me. And when we did our first draft,
Adeline used to sing that.
Oh yeah,
my oldest used to sing that. Like during COVID was when I was really into Rent. And anytime I would go anywhere, because no one was going anywhere, so it was very rare for Corey and I to leave the house. So anytime we would, she'd just go, "Goodbye, love, goodbye, love," just would actually be weeping. It was pretty great.
Nice. So yeah, I'll Cover You. I have Come What May from Moulin Rouge. Which I don't know if you've seen Moulin Rouge, but Come What May. The only original song in the original movie, because it's a jukebox musical. Come What May, really good. Ewan McGregor, Nicole Kidman both do a great job on it. I have If I Could Tell Her from Dear Evan Hansen. I like that one, which like it's kind of a non-traditional one, and it's kind of weird when you describe it because like he's singing to her like he's saying this is what your brother said, but it's actually about her brother liking him, but it's actually a love song because it's how he actually feels towards her. Um, and then I have As Long As You're Mine from Wicked. I'm Not That Girl was close on there, and then Shik's a Goddess from The Last 5 Years. Those were my honorable mentions.
Jeremy Jordan.
It is Jeremy Jordan and Anna Kendrick.
The fact that you've been doing this podcast for so long and he hasn't responded to all the unsolicited love you throw at him every single week.
How would he? I'm not like DMing it clips to him for like tagging him and
Why
shit.
not? Why not?
Because I'm not a creepy stalker. I can be an obsessed fanboy, but I'm not one of those people that's going to fucking stalk the actual person. Although, no.
Look, man, all I'm saying is best case scenario, you get like a Twitter like or like response. Worst case scenario, you're not allowed within 20 yards of him, as if you would get that close anyway.
I did have a cameo conversation with him. So
stop that.
I did do that.
You paid for yourself?
I paid $5 to send a cameo message. And he got a response. Yep. I did. That was a while.
What was the conversation?
I honestly don't remember. It was like over a year ago. I don't know if I still. I think I asked a question.
You know what you need to do? You need to like clip that cameo conversation, and then every time you mention Jeremy Jordan throughout the podcast, and then just put that on the internet.
No. But,
would you leave your wife for Jeremy Jordan?
No. I would not.
All right.
Despite all my unrequited.
I thought this was a place to be honest.
Song picks. No. Anna Kendrick.
I feel like Jeremy that's Jordan. Where we've been driving at.
Just kidding. But that was my honorable mentions. I don't have anything else for this episode. I think we'll probably get you back either next week or the week afterwards, and we'll try to update just our top 5 musical songs and do another draft for that.
Awesome.
And we'll see. So that'll be coming up. So stay tuned. If you're not already, follow us. Instagram is where we do the stuff. We do technically still have the Twitter X page. I do not post on it anymore because Twitter is hot garbage now. So that page is basically dead. Follow us on Instagram for updates, TikTok. But the best thing to do
Threads.
I'm not on Threads. Not on Threads.
You should.
The best thing to do is just subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, and on YouTube. Follow us there too. So that's the best way to keep up to date because you turn those notifications on, they'll pop up for you. It's so convenient.
I got one more thing.
What?
To our scores of listeners, we appreciate your support. If you could like, subscribe, give us 5 stars, the whole things, but also if you could just tag Jeremy Jordan in the comments of this video. If you could just put
and
that
Larceny
on his
Whiskey.
radar. And Larceny Whiskey, maybe
to sponsor us.
Remember. But if we could get arrange a conversation between Matt and Jeremy Jordan that he doesn't have to pay for this time, we would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, we need. No, one of my
Jeremy,
goals.
if you're listening, Matt loves you.
No,
please be his friend.
One of my Jesus Christ. One of my goals.
You're blushing.
He's doing Gatsby on That's because I'm drunk. Um,
I'm
so
Broadby.
I've talked about it on here before, and I've talked about it with you. That I was a big fan of In the Light, the musical, A Faustian Tale, written by Michael Mott. Michael Mott's been talking about they're working on reworking that musical because they had done a sample album that just had a ton of talented people like Sierra Renee, Jeremy Jordan, uh, what's his name? Something Cipriano, Antonio Cipriano. Um, I gave him a shout out a while ago because I was going through when I was watching After Waitress. He did a number of covers with Renee Rapp. Renee Rapp, very talented as well. The highlight of the new Mean Girls movie, and it is Antonio Cipriano. I was right, but Sierra Renee, Jeremy Jordan, Antonio Cipriano, Celia Pfeiffer, all of them great on the In the Light cast recording musical. Mike Mott said they're reworking the musical and going to try some different things. Just those big, large scale musicals, not as much of a market for on Broadway right now. He said so. He said it's probably going to be something different. They've talked about doing like some West End stuff, potentially like somewhere overseas, had offers there, but I don't know. But it sounds like it's going to get reworked somehow. I'm a big fan of that, the story and the music in that. So hopefully things work out. I'd like to get Michael Mott on here. So that's my goal.
That would be wonderful.
Him I've had
Listeners
unpaid
tag
for
Michael Mott as
conversations
well.
with on Twitter.
If
So
if we could get Michael Mott and Jeremy Jordan together to plug their work within the light, that would be great. Can I do a little like, and then I have another honorable mention that must be shared because I think it is the greatest love song.
What was
in
the point
Broadway
of this?
history? So that like the action,
to close the chapter on that.
You can.
Well, am I cutting this part out?
I want you to take this and put it, copy paste, whatever, snip it, move it towards when we were talking.
This will
so
get
it's not at the end
to
of
the honorable mentions. Okay.
Yeah. So do you want me to do it again?
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
My final honorable mention is a song that goes like this from Spamalot. It is a song between Lancelot and the Lady of the Lake that is a parody of every like Broadway love song. And it's once in every show there comes a song like this, and then it just goes to all sorts of crazy places while staying perfectly within the like cliche format of a Broadway love ballad. And so I kept it for my honorable mentions because it is very loosely a love song, but it is a parody of a love song, and it is done so perfectly. Go see Spamalot and watch it illegally on YouTube.
What's the song?
The song that goes like this.
Oh, that's what it's called?
Yeah.
I thought you were saying...
Once in every show there comes a song like this. It starts off soft and low and ends up with a kiss. Where is the song? It goes like this. Nice. I could just see you getting more frustrated as I was talking. No. I thought it was because it was Spamalot. It was just you were waiting for the song name.
I was waiting for you to say the title of the song.
I'm just like, I could just see
up on that
fucker. Son of a bitch, spit it out.
Say what it is. I thought it was gonna be like I was waiting for like a punchline with the song title. Like I thought it was gonna be. Honestly, I thought it was gonna be the song you were telling me about earlier from the Monty Python thing about jizz. But
no. First of all, that's not Spamalot. That is The Meaning of Life, and it is Every Sperm is Sacred.
Oh, okay. Which is about jizz.
Look. There's ladies that listen to this show, and gentlemen.
Are there? Are there?
I don't know. You said people are calling
That's
us the
true.
new
People
heights
have been
of
saying that. That's true. People have been calling us
name
that.
what people, Matt? What people?
People. I don't assume their gender.
I know mom
Or
and
their
pops don't
names.
listen to this.
They don't. Mom told me this last week. She's like, if I wasn't worried about swearing or things that would make me less proud of you, then I would listen to it. And I'm like, I'm okay with you not. I said, that's okay.
Less proud of you.
Yeah. I said,
Well,
I'm okay that you don't listen to it. You're not necessarily the target demographic. Um,
no.
I'm not trying to cater to that. So yeah, they can just keep not listening. After her cousin told her that I swear a lot. She doesn't want to be disappointed in how much I swear. Swearing
Thanks a
kept to
lot,
a
Kayla,
minimum
you
this
narc.
episode. Yeah. But that'll do it for this episode.
Oh no, because that part got clipped in. We gotta no do that.
Okay. Thank you all for listening. If you made it this far, kudos to you. Appreciate your listens, your support. Like I said, like, follow, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. Comment.
Brought to you by Larceny Bourbon and the Jeremy Jordan Fan Club.
Yep, brought to you by those things. So thank you all. Hope you had a good Valentine's Day, or what's the other things to call it? Single Awareness Day. Is the acronym of that intentionally sad? Like, was that planned, or is it just
Oh, certainly.
a nice
Certainly.
coincidence? Okay, I figured so. Have a great day, February. Tune in next week for either just me or Brad and I again. Follow us on social media, or just get a pleasant surprise every Wednesday when you wake up excited to watch the new episode and go to YouTube and you see what you're going to get. So, thank you. Don't forget to go down once more. Brad's favorite catchphrase. Later.
That's so much.
Dude, if we go back to the unreleased episode, you were the one who made that joke fucking initially. When we were doing the intro to the podcast, you did. She's like, ooh, I'm ready to go down once more. You know what I mean? You said that. So you're just shitting on it. And it was you.
It just goes to show not all my ideas are great.
Whatever. I'm also leaving this in. So. All right. Later. Thank you all for tuning in. See you next time.